Okay guys, this is the review for tomorrow's test. I went ahead and added the table for problem number 1 because you can't see the points and we need the equation in order to answer this question. So go ahead and pause the video, write down the table, and let's go ahead and add it to Desmos and get the equation by using y1 approximately a parentheses b close parentheses x to the power of 1. Remember, you have to type it in just like you see it, hit the log button, and then erase the b and retype the b so that it doesn't give you a negative number. So let's go ahead and put that in Desmos. So I have 0, 1, and 2. And I have 400, 500, and 625. Okay, add the equation y of 1 approximately a parentheses b close parentheses to the power of x1. Okay, remember, hit check log mode. And it gave me a positive, I don't know about y'all, but if it gave you a negative, just erase the b and retype the b again. Okay, so my equation is 400, and in parentheses I have 1.25 to the power of x. So let's write that as our equation. It's y equals 400 times 1.25 to the power of x. What does the 400 mean? That's what you started with, and it showed you right here on the graph that it started at 400. Okay? What does the 1.25 mean? That it's a growth, right, because it's greater than 1, and it's increasing by 0.25%. So 1 plus 0.25, that's what goes in the middle. That means it's increasing, it's a growth, and it's increasing by 0.25%. So 25% increase every year. That's what that means. Okay? So then it says, based on the graph, which statement appears to be true? So which one of those is true? A. A is true, but I need you to check C. C is not true. It says every year the number of stores the coffee company opened increased by 100. So right here it increased by 100 because it's 500. But then the next one, even though it looks like it's 600, it's not. And if you keep going, you'll notice that it's not increasing by 100 every single time. It increases by less than 100. Okay? B says the coffee opened 200 stores in 1 year. Well, no, it didn't, because from 0 to 1, it opened 100 stores, not 200 stores. And then the last one, since 1992, the coffee company has opened 250 stores each year. Well, if you go up by 250 each year, it's not going to look like this. It's going to look more like this, like a straight line. Okay? Let's put this one in Desmos. Do not erase the equation part. Just retype the table and get the equation. And I want you to do the same thing for problem number 4. Put that in Desmos without messing with the equation. And also problem number 14. Put that in Desmos without messing with the equation. So go ahead and pause, do all of those problems, and then we'll check them. Okay, so you should have already put this in Desmos. Again, if you did not, you need to pause the video and do those tables before you continue. When I put this table in Desmos, here's my table. This is what my equation gave me. It gave me 9999.973. That's like 1,000. You just round it, right? 1,000. And then inside the parentheses is going to be 1.04 or 1.05. So we're looking at our at our answers right here, we started with 1,000, and inside we should have 1.05 because we rounded. Our answer is B. Again, this one doesn't have a starting point outside. This one says that it starts at 1.05, and that's not what we started with. And this one says that we started with 0.5. So you could have just looked at the table and kind of figured it out. Know that it starts at 1,000. Okay, problem 4. When you put this table in decimals, this is what it looks like. So when I typed it in decimals, this is what my table looks like for problem number 4. And when you go down, this is the equation. So we started with, and again, you can round that. This is really what we started with. Wait, that needs to have another 0? No. 36,500. Yeah, 36,500. And then it's going up by 1.08, which is 8% increase. So when I look at my answer choices, again, we did not start with that number. We started with this number, right? And I know that it's an increase, so it's not D. It didn't stay at 0.08, and it's not A. It's not decreasing by 0.08. It's increasing by 0.08 because that's 1.08 when you add it. The answer is C. Okay. On the back, problem 14. Okay, make sure that you've put that one in decimals already and you know the equation. When you put that in decimals, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. This is my problem 14 table, and this is my equation. So we started with 380, because I'm rounding 380, and it's increasing by 4%, right? It's an increase because it's greater than the dollar, so let's write that down on our paper. So we started y equals 380, and it's increasing by 1.04 to the power of x. This one says decreasing. That's not right. This one says increasing by 4%. That's correct. The value of the stock decreases by 82 every year or increases by 82 every year. That's a constant rate. That means those are linear. A and D are not correct because that's a linear function and that's a linear function. Okay, it has to be by percentage. That 0.04 is 4%, and it's increasing because it's greater than the dollar. Okay? So the answer is B. The rest of these questions are pretty simple. Let's go to problem number 3. Okay, this is just talking about domain or range. So I know that my domain is all real numbers. Okay, because it's going to keep going to the left forever and ever, and it's going to keep going to the right forever and ever. We talked about this during our domain and range day. So unless it says that domain is all real numbers, these two are wrong. So now we're just looking at the range. Range, if you look on the wall, is the orange sheet. We're going from the bottom to the top. So this would be my bottom, my lowest, and this would be my highest. What is my lowest point on the range? -4. And the highest? Infinity, right? So we write it like this. From -4, and it doesn't touch it because that's the asymptote, all the way to infinity. So I only need this part. So when you flip it, it's y greater than -4. Y greater than -4. Those numbers are going up, so they're getting greater. Okay, see? They're going up. The numbers are getting greater. So the answer is B. Not less than, but greater than. Okay, let's go do problem number on the back. Problem number 6. Okay, it says a toy is made up of cylindrical rings stacked on a base as shown in the diagram. The diameter of ring 1 is 68% of the diameter of the ring directly below it. So the rings are getting smaller, right, by 68%. It says the diameter of the base is 6 inches. That means this base right here, the diameter, is 8 inches. That's what we started with. So that's the number that has to go in the very front. Okay? Like right there, 8. So it's not A and it's not B. And then I told you that it's decreasing by a percent of 68. That means they already subtracted from the 1. So 1 minus something gave you the 68%. This is what goes inside the parentheses. Okay, and also you should know that the R is up at the top. Should be up at the, not like that. Should be up at the top, not inside. That's supposed to be a 1, not an R, right? So the answer is C. You're just using process of elimination to figure out, using the stuff that they gave you, which one makes sense. Problem number 7 is asking for the domain. Okay, and normally this would be all real numbers, except this one started right here. And it's going to continue forever. So if I'm looking at domain, it's my X, and we're going from left to right. So what's my leftmost point? The leftmost point. 0 on the X, okay, not on the Y. I don't need the numbers on the Y, just the numbers on the X. So we started at 0, and we're going to keep going forever and ever to infinity. So that's 0 all the way to infinity, and it can equal to 0 because it's touching right there at 0. So I only need this part. You flip it, so it's X greater than or equal to 0. The answer is A. You really need to make sure that you understand that when you're doing domain and range. And if you don't remember, if it goes from left to right or bottom to top, that you look at the wall for those clues. Okay, problem number 18. I need you to put this in Desmos. Put this equation in Desmos and figure which one is not true. Which one of these is not true? Go. Okay, so when you type it in Desmos, this is what it looks like. Okay, and if you want to zoom in so you can look for the asymptote is right there at 0. It's right here. This line is the asymptote. Is at 0. The y-intercept, you touch the y-intercept, is at 0, 1/3. That's the y-intercept. This exponential function is decreasing, so it's a decay. Okay? It decreases from left to right. It's decreasing from left to right. Is the asymptote vertical or horizontal? What is this? Vertical or horizontal? This is horizontal. It is not vertical. This does not have a vertical asymptote. So let's go look at our answers. A says that the graph has a vertical asymptote. No, it doesn't, right? And it's talking about which one is not true, so that one would be true. B says the graph crosses the y-axis at 0 and 1/3. Yes, that's the y-intercept. C says the graph has an asymptote at y equals 0. That's correct. We told you it was at y equals 0. And the graph is decreasing from left to right. That is also correct. So the only one that's not correct is A.